The Dallas Stars pulled off a remarkable third-period comeback in Game 7 of their opening round series with the Colorado Avalanche. Joey Erickson of Locked On Stars is here to talk about how they did it and what it'll take to win in round 2. All that and more on today's Locked On NHL podcast.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Gil Martin here, and welcome everybody to the Monday edition of the Locked On NHL podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On NHL your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. It is my pleasure to welcome back to the show the host of Locked On Stars, Joey Erickson. And Joey, you guys got to be happy with that exciting third period comeback. What was the key to overcoming the 2-0 deficit in the closing minutes of the game?
Well, it's a simple answer, and it's two words: Mikko Rantanen. He put on the cape and willed Dallas to a victory in Game 7, and that's why you go out and you give up picks and you give up good, maybe even great players to get a player like Mikko Rantanen, because he can put the team on his shoulders and just will a team to victory with his elite playmaking and elite goal scoring ability. It was special to watch what Mikko did in that final period. And ironically, I thought the worst stretch of hockey in the game for Dallas was probably the first 7 minutes of that third period. And of course, the Stars came back in the third period, but the first two periods, I thought Dallas hung in there well. It's not like they were playing awful. And I think what we saw in this series, and it was probably the key factor for Dallas pulling this off without Miro, Heiskanen, without Jason Robertson, was Dallas was just really good in some of those high leverage moments. They ended up scoring 7 power play goals in the series. They held Colorado to 3. I think the Avs were 3 for 22, 23 or something like that in the series. That's pretty spectacular when they trot out Natchez and McKinnon and Makar. The Stars penalty kill was just phenomenal. And the 3 power play goals Colorado had, 2 of them really should not have gone in. McKinnon got a couple of fortuitous bounces that found its way past Ottinger. There was a lot of fluky goals in the series, and it just felt like it was going to go 7, and Mikko Rantanen was the difference maker, so probably should have held on to him, huh?
Yeah, how much did this mean to Mikko Rantanen to beat his former team like that?
Yeah, I mean, he spoke with, I think, Emily Kaplan after the game on ESPN, and he mentioned in the handshake line, it was emotional, and he said it was his brothers that he had to knock out. But I think you could sense in just his game that this series meant a little something. All the backlash he's sort of gotten from Colorado fans, from Carolina even, I think he had something to prove. I mean, 11 points in his last 3 games of the series is unreal. And it's not like he was not playing well or early in the series. He just wasn't scoring, wasn't finishing. And then you see what happens when he is finishing. And I think it had to probably be a huge weight off his shoulders too. I'm sure going back to Colorado again was something that brought up more emotions, and you have to work through all of those. But at the end of the day, I think Game 7, it's just hockey, and he's one of the best players in the world, and he is no merchant to anybody. I don't care what anybody says. He's just a really, really good hockey player, and I think he proved that. And I mean, what a storyline to knock out your former club, and to do it in that fashion with a hat trick is something we've never seen before.
You talked about the injuries. Who were some of the key players who stepped up and made a difference for the Stars, who were playing, as you mentioned, without two of their better players.
Yeah, well, I have to go to some of the unsung heroes, and that is the Sam Steeles, the Oscar Becks, and the Colin Blackwells of the world. They were instrumental on the penalty kill, especially Sam Steele. Even in game one, I know the Stars lost that game, but there was an early 4-minute power play for Colorado in that game. The Stars got through that. Steele was excellent all series long. Oscar Beck, he wins a lot of faceoffs. He's also instrumental on the penalty kill. Blackwell, of course, scored the big overtime winner in game 2 for Dallas, and that was a big victory. Otherwise, Colorado could have had a 2-0 series lead heading to Denver for game 3. So I look at players like those that maybe didn't staff or didn't stuff the score sheet, but are playing instrumental roles on the penalty kill and other areas of the game. And Wyatt Johnston, too, I think has to be thrown in there. He's becoming a bit of a Mr. Game 7 already, and he's 22 years old, I think 21. He's scored a goal in every Game 7 of his young career, and he ended up with the game winner last night on the power play. And he didn't have a series where he lit it up, but he scored some big time goals for the Stars.
Any injury updates or any chance that, Robertson and Heiskanen are back for round 2?
Well, Gil, I thought Miro was going to be back about as late as game 5 in round 1, but Pete DeBoer gave an update ahead of game 7, and there was no way he was playing. It must have been some gamesmanship. And they mentioned to the coaching staff that if they did advance, the deadlines are going to be pushed back. The timelines are going to be pushed back. Maybe they're ready for game 1. Robo, I think, is a similar story. He was downgraded day to day, I think just a day before the game 7 against Colorado. So it's very up in the air. There's a lot of gamesmanship at this point in the season, which kind of stinks. Sometimes I wish they would just come out and say it. I do get it, but I think whatever team Dallas is going to play, and I believe it's Winnipeg who just finished it off as we're currently recording, Winnipeg's going to be prepared for everything. So I don't know if it matters if you're playing hokey pokey or whatever with Miro. But, man, if they come back, those are huge lifts to Dallas. And to get through a series against Colorado and a team that I think a lot of people agree is probably a Stanley Cup contender. It sucks at the route after round 1. That was something special from Dallas to hang in there and get the job done.
What does it take to beat the President's Trophy winning Winnipeg Jets in round 2, out of the frying pan into the fire, right?
Yeah, I said it throughout the regular season because Winnipeg completely, I mean, they dominated Dallas in I think 3 of the 4 meetings, and the last one wasn't very close, and that was quote unquote the biggest game of the year for Dallas. They were still in the hunt to maybe win the Central, and of course it did not happen. But I think the West really does run through Winnipeg. The Connor Hellenbuck situation's a bit weird. He had a bit of an up and down series, but it's always there. It's always in him to just shut it down and be the best goalie on planet Earth. And that should scare a lot of Stars fans. It certainly scares me, but I think it's going to be really heavy and physical. Winnipeg plays such a tough playoff style of hockey that I think it's going to be a really tough dogfight for Dallas. But I mean, they should feel like they can beat anybody after taking down Colorado. And as we've mentioned, if you get Robo and Miro back, then it's just more firepower. But it's going to be certainly tough. And man, these Central Division teams are already tested here now. They proved that this division is pretty tough.
So, what concerns you the most heading into this series?
I would say, I mean, it always is going to come back to the back end for Dallas, and I guess that there's less concern about Winnipeg running rampant like Colorado, since they do play such an up-tempo game. I think Winnipeg and Dallas probably play a more similar style, so it's probably a better matchup stylistically for Dallas. But Winnipeg's going to be really physical, and I think that's going to be the difference probably from Colorado in Winnipeg, where the Jets are going to want to get in on the forecheck, and they're going to want to grind down Dallas's defense, because Dallas is pretty shorthanded in that area, and they're also playing Cody Ceci, Lyubushkin, guys that probably should be on the third pair. They're playing top 4 minutes right now, and they fared pretty well against Colorado. But I mean, that's really going to be the concern. And of course, I think it's obvious it's Hellebuck. If he's going to be better than Ottinger, Dallas is going to have no way to beat Winnipeg. That's just going to be the story of the series. But it would be fun. I mean, two great U.S. net miners, Ottinger and Hellebuck. They were teammates during the Four Nations face-off, and there were some Jets fans calling Otter a U.S. backup during the regular season. So he's going to be fired up to go into Manitoba for Game 1 and try to quiet the crowd there.
Joey, it's going to be a great series. I know you'll have it covered every step of the way. Why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners where they could find the podcast and where they could find you on social media?
Absolutely. You can find us at Locked On Stars on X, wherever you get your other social media pages. I'm at Joey the Jet 19 is the personal account, and Locked On Stars, of course, it's on YouTube and free wherever you get your podcast, just like you listen to Locked On NHL. So would love for some of you to hop over and enjoy the rest of the postseason. Should be exciting.
Should be. Joey, thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. The Stanley Cup playoffs are here, and if you've never been to a live NHL playoff game, it's unlike anything else. The intensity, the speed, the energy in the building, it's next level. And thanks to Game Time, getting in the door is easier and more affordable than ever. Game Time is the fastest way to grab playoff tickets, even for those must-see matchups. Prices actually drop as puck drop gets closer, and with last-minute deals, you could save up to 60%. Their all-in pricing shows the total cost up front. There are no surprise fees at checkout, and the app even has panoramic seat views, so you know exactly what to expect before you purchase the tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.